What's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be showcasing my Dark Magician build, which focuses on bringing the pain through the explosive dark side. We're Graveborn, and I'll be letting you know how it works, which skills you'll want to spec into, and which weapons are absolutely made for this build. If you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the build, then I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to, or you could even follow me on Twitter, and let's crack into it. So this build combines dark magic with explosions. It's like Torg's evil sorcerer cousin. We're using Graveborn to maximize the dark energy we'll be summoning, and Brrzerker serves as a great support in a lot of ways, which we'll dive into when we get to the skill trees at the end of the video. And there is a save file of this build linked in the description. This build is extremely universal. It has all bases covered, and it's just a lot of fun, especially when mobbing, which is where things get the craziest. The action skill we'll be running with is Reaper of Bones to boost the dark magic energy surging through our veins. We're boosting dark magic damage wherever we can, and ideally we want anything dark magic to also explode, and there's a few weapons that this build puts the spotlight on. One of those is the Shadow Fire, which is made by Ferior and can come in both fire and dark magic. Obviously we want the dark magic one, and it has an increased chance to drop from Mike. You fight around here in Weep Wild Dankness. The cool thing about the Shadow Fire is that it deals area damage from the start, which allows us to get 25% extra damage from Ancient Fury, which is one of the key skills for this build. Because it's made by Ferior, it also comes with a towering reload effect, which also deals area damage and is its single highest point of damage, although unlike a lot of Feriors, its bullet damage is good anyway. The great thing about its reload effect is that it doesn't harm you. A lot of the time it's hard to make use of skills like the Old Ways, which is another big damage boosting skill, but with the Shadow Fire you can, and we can get the full 100% damage bonus from the Cursed Wit, which will be our bossing shield, without the fear of dying. Another thing that this gun does well is its damage over time. The chance is high and the damage is a lot higher than you think. Applying an element from the Buffmeister, which is the spell we'll be using in this build, and the fire damage from the Body Rune, which is the shield I recommend for mobbing, we can just stand back as the inflictions do their thing. It's a gun that ticks all the boxes, and you can use it any way you'd like. It shouldn't be a surprise that we're highlighting Ferior in this build, with another weapon being the Throwable Hole, which can only come in dark magic and drops from the Chaos Chamber. This is the #1 weapon for mobbing in this setup. Like the Shadow Fire, its reload effect won't harm you, allowing you to literally drop it at your enemy's feet and stand there until they're dead. Its reload spawns a spiraling dark magic puddle that sucks enemies in and doubles in size, as well as triples in strength when you throw another one into it. It'll pull enemies in from all angles and have you feel like you're playing Ragdoll Simulator. It's kinda crazy what it can do. Not only does the damage over time count as area damage, but so does the massive explosion that rings out after it expires in 5 seconds. Although it's best for mobbing, you can use that great damage spike to deal to bosses too. Another thing is that that huge explosion actually counts as spell damage instead of gun damage like the other guns I recommend for this build. Using the Buffmeister with Zap on it, we can increase that Dark Blast a ton, and you can focus it more by equipping some spell rings. What I would recommend for bossing though is the Gluttony, another Ferior weapon. This one again can only come in dark magic. This one has an increased chance to drop from Droll the Troll. You fight around here in Queen's Gate. The Gluttony will actually kill you, unlike the other reload effects, but it deals some incredible damage. The key really, especially while bossing, is to stand close enough that you don't die, but do get the maximum nearby damage bonuses from the Cursed Wit and the Old Ways. They can take some getting used to, but regardless, the damage storm it summons on impact will comfortably get the job done. While mobbing, it's the same beast, ragdolling enemies like the Throwable Hole, but unlike the Throwable Hole, they don't need to be caught in the whirlwind to get hurt. From that dagger storm, knives are fired at nearby enemies, often killing them and doing a great job at proccing Blood of the Fallen and extending the life of our action skill. It's also amazing at leeching health back, which is great and is another way it extends Reaper of the Bones. Both the Throwable Hole and Gluttony do that extremely well while mobbing, but one will kill you and the other won't, so there's that. Unlike the other two, I found the Gluttony didn't benefit as much from max size boosts, as the damage over time deals more damage than the initial blast, although max size is still king when it comes to increasing the damage of these weapons. Regarding support gear, there's a bunch of amulets in here and there's not much of a difference between them, but ideally you want them to boost dark magic damage and have a max size roll as one of their passives, or even the only one. Dark magic damage and Graveborn power isn't a must, Brrzerker power is fine, and I kind of like a balance between the two. As for my armor, I mainly went with the rolls and skills on this one, either Brrzerker main and Stabbo sub for the old ways, or Brrzerker main and Graveborn sub for Ancient Fury. My ideal armor would be a god rolled amalgam, but I feel diamond gauntlets with dark magic damage as its element, or even frost would be good too. Rings, it's really a chop and change here depending on what I'm using, but I do have a few double rolled Sharksbanes for general play, or I chuck on the pistol mag boosting ones to increase the damage of the Gluttony. I'd do the same for the others if I had max size boosts for that weapon type. Goblin Pickaxe is great for whenever we want to get our action skill back earlier, and there are plenty of other weapons that you can fit into this build, but these are the three that I built it around initially. So to wrap things up, let's hit up the skill tree. I've already covered most of this, but you'll notice that even with the focus on dark magic, we don't spec that far into the Graveborn tree. We're mainly here for Reaper of Bones, the action skill, but Dark Pact does help us increase our dark magic damage, and it's also nice to have a friend for once. As you can see, I named him Fernando. Brrzerker is where the added damage comes from, and most of that's universal, although the extra frost damage while enraged is more than welcome. We grab Ancestral Frost to increase that bonus frost damage, and there's nothing stopping us from using frost weapons. Instinct is nice to up our DPS for when we're chucking Feriors, and the Buffmeister does help with that too. The Old Ways is a key damage booster, which we can get full advantage of when chucking the Shadowfire or Throwable Hole. Another key skill is Ancient Fury, increasing our area damage, but also maximum health, which helps with the life leeching. Relentless Rage is one of the most useful skills, so I always grab that one. Iron Squall is great for when we're actually shooting things, and then we round off with Blood of the Fallen, which greatly extends the time of Reaper of Bones. For hero rank, this is what I went for, basically maxing out crit damage but also reducing spell cooldown and action skill cooldown rates. Regarding myth rank, it isn't anything special. I still have a ton of points outstanding, and I didn't go over 20 in any of the uncapped skills, so you shouldn't have a problem hitting similar damage numbers. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and can use my Dark Magician build to tear it up in the Wonderlands. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.